Thank you. Joining me now is the Senior Vice President of Player Personnel, Travis Schlenk, who has a great reputation of talent evaluation. Hence the reason why he probably doesn't really want to talk to me. He wants to be on the phone trying to get some things done, but we'll make this quick. What does this mean to you at this juncture of your career, coming here and pairing up with Monumental Basketball?
Yeah, to be able to work with Michael, someone that I have a ton of respect for. We've known each other for a long time, and then to have Will to come in to be able to help him as he starts his first journey as a general manager, being able to support him and tell him some of the things that I've learned from the past 6 years in Atlanta. I think it's very exciting. I love the D.C. area. My father actually grew up down in Richmond, Virginia, so familiar with the area a little bit. Would go back and spend several weeks each summer with my grandparents, and they would bring us up here to all the museums and stuff. And actually, this past spring break, since I didn't have a job, I was able to go with my family on spring break, and we brought them up here. And I said, we're going to do something different. We're just not going to go sit on a beach. We brought them up here and, did all the sightseeing tour stuff. My daughter's had a great time. My 9-year-old probably doesn't want to see a museum for a while, but I think it's important, all the history and tradition here in the city, and I'm very excited about it.
Do you feel refreshed after kind of being away from it from a while? Like, how does your energy level get back up, ramped up to do the job?
Yeah, no, I told Michael he saved my marriage, get me out of the house, because my wife was ready for me to get out.
During your time in Atlanta, all you have to do is just Google the roster, just to see what you put together in terms of young talent that are thriving. My question to you, though, about talent evaluation is, it is not an exact science, but there is something in terms of what you built down there that looks successful. What is it?
Well, I think the important thing is, and this being around the team all the time, like these are people. Yeah. And anytime you have, whether you're working in an office or you're on a team, like the chemistry that you have as people is extremely important. And you heard Michael and Will both allude to that. Like, the character of the people is unbelievably important. The old saying, if you have one bad apple, it can spoil the whole bunch. Right. And that's something I really put a lot of stock into. And then, as far as the team building side of it all, the pieces have to fit together. I think a lot of times now you have this sense that we're just going to go get the best talent you can, and believe me, that can be successful, but it's not always true. The pieces have to fit together. Skill sets have to complement each other, and that's the part that we're not going to overlook, but I do think sometimes it does get overlooked.
What do you think the best practices you have taken from your time in Atlanta and Golden State that do you think applies here in Washington?
Well, the good news there is I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, so I've had lots to learn from. But no, we were extremely successful in Golden State, and just like any great franchise, what makes you successful, the run the Spurs had was Tim Duncan. Mm-hmm. And in Golden State, the success that they've had is Steph Curry. And again, obviously great players, but it's the people they are. They set the tone for the whole organization. So that's really one of the main factors that we're going to be looking for as we look at our players.
Travis, welcome to town. And I've seen Travis 2 or 3 times so far, and every time I see him, he's got his head in the evaluation tablet and he's watching players. So this guy has been working as soon as he got home. Again, it saved his marriage getting back to work. Travis, pleasure to meet you, and welcome to D.C.
Thank you very much.
Guys, back to you.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks so much for that. Glenn, one of the things that, whether we heard Travis say it, and Ted alluded to Travis as well, the passion that each of these guys have, and more importantly, the expertise in each of their respective fields, has to give Wizards fans and all of us on the broadcasting side a lot of confidence coming into this season.
Well, I think all three have been strategic, and you heard from Travis saying, I made mistakes. Yeah. And that's how you learn. So I think what they're bringing is, really a multifaceted experience. OKC, Atlanta, Cleveland, Golden State, the Clippers. I mean, you add all those together, you got a winner.
And that's one of the things that Ted wanted to prioritize. When he first initially said they were opening the searches, we were going to look outside of the organization to people who have a pedigree of winning and the passion and the willpower to get it done. So things are looking really bright for you Wizards fans right now, just between you and I. But coming up, Glenn and I are going to hang out with you a little bit more. We're going to hear from head coach Wes Unseld Jr. on the other side. Together today in attendance here at the press conference, get his thoughts on the future of Monumental basketball and the impact that the impending free agency will have. Don't move. Welcome back, Wizards fans. The introductory press conference of the Wizards' new leadership. Just taking a look at some key dates on the calendar that you might want to circle, including some in this month. June 22nd, the 2023 NBA Draft. The Wizards have the 8th pick overall. You'll see at the end of the month the deadline for players and team option decisions, something we know is going to be a high priority for Michael and the rest of his front office. And of course, the moratorium period. Summer League happening out in Las Vegas. Hope to be there. And then training camp opens in late September. But Glenn, I want to ask you about this June 29th day. We know that there are two.
That's the doozy.
I was going to say. They usually say there's an elephant in the room. Well, one's a unicorn and the other one's a coos. But the confidence that I think that we've heard from this front office, whether it's through Michael, Travis, we heard from Will as well, these are high priorities for this team moving forward as of this moment right now.
Well, it is. And one thing that you heard Michael say is that, look, there's talent here.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's not shunning that. Oh, let's make change just to make change.
Yeah, no.
I don't think he's that type of guy. You got someone like Kuz who, look, they got to want to be here. And one thing that was emphasized by Michael was, they're sitting in the power seat.
Right.
Okay, so they got to want to be here. That's reality, and that's how it is. It's not just here; it's around the NBA as well. But the bottom line is, Brad's coming back.
Yep.
You got Kuz and Porzingis. Those guys have to make some decisions. I think that's a really important date. But I also will tell you this: the draft date coming up.
Yes.
Okay. This organization needs to hit on that draft pick.
Yes.
All right? There's a lot of good players. I did an analysis with Chase Hughes, my guy. We were looking at this draft. It's very deep. You can hit on number 8.
Yes,
and
you can.
if they do, that's dramatically and can dramatically change this organization.
And that's what it's all about. We'll get into some of our draft commentary here in a moment. Right now, I want to go to Chris Miller, who's standing right outside with Wes Unseld Jr., the head coach of your Washington Wizards.
Wes Unseld Jr. was forced to put a suit on because it's the summertime and he wants to either be in the gym or on the golf course and the beach. But today is a significant day to dress up. I just want to get your thoughts on the new group that is now Monumental Basketball.
It's a really exciting time. Having Will, Mike, their pedigree, not only as people, but the background, various experiences coming from winning franchises. So it's really exciting to kind of pull, from that experience and bring that here to Washington.
As you know, the basketball community is very small. Everybody knows everybody, or at least there's the Kevin Bacon rule of they know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. Do you have any connections with any of the new guys?
Well, it's funny. Mike worked for Danny Ferry in Cleveland, and we all know Danny's history here in Washington. Will was in OKC. Worked with, Rob Hennigan, with Sam Presti. I've known both those gentlemen for 20-plus years. So it is a very small circle. And you use that to do a little digging, background work. And, everything that I've heard from both, they're extremely positive. Bright minds, innovative, forward-thinking, but diligent workers, and at their core, high character individuals. So I think it just fits, and there's that alignment you can tell just between the two of them. So I think that's going to bode well for us.
The thing that I have heard even before the press conference is they want to support you and what you and the staff need to be the best version of you and the staff. When you hear that, and it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to implement it, but to hear that they want to make it streamline it where you just coach the team and don't have to really deal with any of the other stuff, how does that make you feel?
There's a level of comfort in that. It's to have that support system, and that there's going to be clear standards, but there's an alignment. And there are going to be hiccups, there always are, but that we're going to vet through it collaboratively, and I think that's important. Know that you have that support system to get through those tough times. But I look forward to getting in the room and kind of diving into everything, roster, the staff makeup, and just kind of really getting their feel, and get their feedback.
You've noticed right away, being at the facility this week, that these guys are serious basketball minds, and they're not here just to be mediocre. They have organizations where they've been to where they've won at a high level. You came from an organization that's currently on the cusp of winning a championship. So when you can put all of that together, big picture, what does this look like to you having this new assimilation of Monumental Basketball?
Well, like I said before, it's extremely exciting, and I know it's going to take some time. I think a lot of times we forego a process, and it may not happen as soon as we'd like it to, but, if we lay that foundation, set out the plan and the vision, now we have something that we just stick to. Get through those tough windows, and eventually you're going to get to the other side of it. I see how it mirrors what Denver's done. The biggest key is consistency.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of luck, obviously a little bit of health, but they were able to weather those storms and get through it, and now they are on the cusp of achieving that goal.
And, you just go over to Serbia in the second round and just find a guy that's a two-time
if it
league
were only
MVP,
that easy.
right? It just looks easy, right? All right, let's talk about what you've been doing this summer. You've been in the lab with the young players, getting them developed. Just kind of bring us up to speed of what you've been up to since April the 9th.
Yeah, obviously the change happened shortly thereafter, so it's been quite busy. During that transition window of kind of diving into certain areas, getting into the draft, going through countless hours of college film and getting up to speed. But then also our young guys, kudos to them, their commitment to come back, be in market. That began early May. So certainly a very positive sign that those guys are investing in themselves and know what's at stake coming into next fall.
And now we get ready for the draft, which will be here in a couple of weeks, and you guys have gone through that process of bringing players in so far. What do you need? What do you need right now in a young player at that position at 8? Now, obviously, you guys can move up, move back, whatever. But what does this player have to look like for you?
Honestly, when you're drafting in that space, I think the most important thing is find the best player.
Okay.
And then you can kind of work backwards and figure out. And there are other avenues, free agency, that you can accumulate talent and worry about fit or need. You want to find the best possible player. And, I think Will hit it right on the head. Obviously, the character. The competitive piece. There's some other intangibles that you look for, but in that area you want to find the most talented player.
Final question: how excited are you to actually collaborate day to day with a young man like Will Dawkins that has paid his dues?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of somebody I'm talking to right now, just paying your dues and getting this opportunity.
Yeah, it's well deserved. Of course, you're excited for him and his family, and he's reaching probably a goal or a milestone in his career. But he paid his dues. He put in the time, put in the effort, logged all those miles, and you can't account enough for that. There's no way to skip those steps. You have to kind of go through it and earn it, and he has. So that commonality alone, on top of being A+ human being, it's really exciting.
I'll let you go. I'll see you. We got workouts tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I'll see him tomorrow. So that's the head coach of the Washington Wizards, Wes Unseld Jr. Guys, back to you.